Select menus allow users to select a single value from a drop-down list like this. Adding the selected attribute to the opening option tag of one of the options tells the browser which value to display. But even if you omit this selected attribute, the value that's displayed at the time the form is submitted is always transmitted along with the form data. In this example, I've added the value attribute to each of the option tags. But if you don't add a value attribute, then the text is sent along with the form data instead. This behavior affects how you structure and handle select menus. If you don't want to make the menu a required field, you can leave it like this. If the user doesn't make a selection, the value not selected is sent along with the form. However, if you want to force the user to make a selection, you have two choices. One is to remove this option completely. This will leave only valid selections, one of which will be selected automatically. The other way of dealing with it is to reject this value if it's selected when the form is submitted. The mail processing script in mail_process_php adds the name of a required field to the missing array only if the value is empty. So to make this field required, you need to make this value an empty string, like this. But it's important to leave the value attribute in the option tag, because if you don't, this text will be used instead. So to process this select menu, we need to add the name, which is OS, to the expected and required arrays at the top of the script here. So OS in the expected array, and because we're making it required, also OS. So if the form is submitted and one of the other selections hasn't been made, we need to display an error message. We'll put it here inside the label. So we need to check if the missing array contains any elements, and if this particular element is in the missing array. Then add an error message. Please make a selection, and then we just need to add the closing curly brace. If the form has been submitted with errors, we need to add the selected attribute to the correct option tag. So this involves putting conditional statements in each of the option tags. In this first one, we want selected to be added when the form first loads, so that will use the conditional statement if not post. Or, if the form has been submitted, but there are errors elsewhere, and this value is empty, we need to also display it. So, or OS equals an empty string. We'll echo selected. This OS is created by the mail processing script in mail_process_php, which goes through the post array and creates new variables based on the name of each array key. The conditional statement in the other option tags needs to check if post contains any elements and if it matches this particular value. Now, I don't know if you noticed my mistake up there. I used a single equals sign. It should be two equal signs because I'm trying to compare the two values. So it needs to be a double equal sign in all cases. So I need to copy this conditional statement or the PHP block and put it in other ones and just change the value that we're checking for. Adding these conditional statements in every option tag in a long select list can become very tedious indeed, but it's very important to do it for usability of your website. So let's just test that. And you need to reload the form because you've made changes to the HTML. So if I now submit that without making a selection, it asks me, please make a selection. If I do make a selection and then submit it, it remembers what I've selected, and of course the error message is not displayed. So that's how to make a user-friendly select menu that remembers the user's selection if the form is submitted with errors.